20 things you should demand from your piercer. Coming up next on Body Piercing Basics, episode number 41. So stick around. For those that are new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I'm the owner and operator of the Axiom Body Piercing Studio located here in wonderful Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to you at a level of expertise as someone who has been in the body piercing industry for a long period of time. And actually, these are part of my policies and how I do business on a day-to-day basis. So why make this video? Well, I have a lot of clients or a lot of people that contact me that aren't clients. A lot of people through the channel, through my website, through just general haphazardness come across me in some search and then begin to ask me, what should I look for when I go and find a piercer? That's a very difficult question, and there's a lot of different factors from experience, skill, ability, and just generally whether or not they're a nice person to begin with. And a lot of that, I usually say visit a lot of shops and kind of get a basic understanding of what's available in your area. What this video is 20 things that I feel every piercer should be doing, especially if they consider themselves a professional. And if they're not doing them, you should be taking your business to someone who does. Number one, when you come into the studio, they should voluntarily walk up to you and give you a consultation on the particular piercing that you're requesting. This consultation should cover a lot of different things, including the length of time that the average healing time is, what it's going to take to heal that piercing out, cross-contamination prevention, risks that are involved with this particular piercing, jewelry types that may be usable or not usable, also whether or not you have the correct anatomy for that piercing. This could be done sometimes in the lobby, sometimes in a private area, and I'll get to that a little bit more in depth later. Number two, if they refuse to do a piercing, they should be willing to sit down and discuss why they don't do that particular piercing. There's a lot of different reasons that can go into why a piercer would refuse to do something. I even did a video on that. But they should also take the time to go, hey, A, B, C, D, E, and F. That's why I don't do it. So if you are just determined to get that piercing, at least you walk away from that experience with enough information that you can make an educated decision on whether or not the risks involved with that piercing are worth it. Number three, during the consultation, they should also voluntarily advise you of any risks that are attributed to that piercing in detail. This is especially true if this piercing is experimental or prone to problems. This shouldn't be something they tell you 3 months later when the thing rejects that, oh yeah, I should, yeah, and I told you, that piercing's prone to that. It should be something they voluntarily let you know so that you can make that educated decision on whether or not you want that piercing and risk it. Number four, they should be willing to refuse to do a piercing that they are uncomfortable with, whether it's your anatomy, your state of mind, maybe you're drunk, or they just don't feel comfortable doing that piercing for one reason or another. It's very difficult when you work in a business like this, where you have somebody that is just chomping at the bit to get something done that you know isn't going to work. It's really easy to go, yeah, I really want that new camera lens, and this will get me about halfway there. Maybe I should do that. It's very easy to fall into that trap. It takes a level of self-discipline and self-belief and integrity to say, no, I won't do that. I'm sorry, and here's why. Number five, kind of a fun thing. If you ask for it, most piercers will give you a guided tour of their facilities, their studio. Most of us are very proud of our studios. They reflect our personality. They reflect how we do business and a lot of other things that are going on in our lives. Usually when somebody asks, I'll take them through like, yeah, here's this person's station. Here's the tattoo area. This is this tattoo area. This is that and that. Of course, I'm not going to show them the break room. It's kind of messy in there sometimes. Tattooists, they're like animals when they eat. Number six, They should conduct themselves in a professional manner regardless of your age, sex, religious belief, sexual orientation, political belief, creed, color, race, what piercings you've decided that you need to have or what piercings you already have. And they should be completely dead sober. Number 7, your piercer should be discreet, meaning that if you get a piercing that you don't want the world to know about, they should not share that information with other people. They should also provide an area that is private to carry on a consultation if you wish. Usually, if you come in, I'll usually greet you in the lobby and then kind of start into the consultation. At that point in time, if you say, hey, I don't feel comfortable talking around everybody in the lobby, I'm happy to take you to the back, sit down, and discuss it in private. Also, they should have a well-lit, clean, private piercing area so that you're not getting pierced in front of a peanut gallery of people that just happen to wander into the shop. It is not a spectator sport, and if you don't feel comfortable with that, it shouldn't be. Number 8, should always be really open and willing to answer any question that the client has. Even if they're not going to be getting that piercing today, maybe they're just stopping by and visiting. I'm very passionate about piercing. I will talk about piercing for days and days if you let me. And I'm willing to answer any question you have. Now, a piercer may refuse to answer some questions of personal nature, and that's their discretion. Just like they're not digging into your business, you have no right to dig into theirs. Then again, I'm pretty open about most of that too. Now we're going to get into the piercing part of it. Number 9, you should be pierced with a single-use, pre-sterilized piercing needle. That needle should be then immediately disposed of as medical waste, usually placed into a sharps container. Piercing needles cannot be reused for any reason. Also, I'm not a big fan of piercers that bend needles and break needles and all this other nonsense. All they're doing is increasing their likelihood of getting contaminated by that needle, or maybe causing some of that to just become airborne. They should just put it in the sharps container and leave it alone. Also, they shouldn't be using any ear piercing devices or ear piercing style jewelry that you might see at various places at the mall or beauty supply places. They should be using only single-use needles and body piercing style jewelry to put in a fresh piercing. Number 10, only pierce with instruments that have been decontaminated, cleaned, and re-sterilized, or are single usage and disposed as medical waste. I've done a couple of videos on how I disinfect and do all that stuff and decontaminate and clean my jewelry or my tools between each piercing. If you're ever in doubt or you see somebody pulling a piece of a tool out to use on you out of a bucket of some liquid or out of a toolbox, ask them how they are sterilizing their jewelry and decontaminating it between each usage. Any piercing studio worth its weight in salt is going to have a list of procedures that they do between each and every piercing for equipment that they reuse. They're going to be happy to share that with you. It's not a trade secret. It's something that they do not only to protect you, but to protect them. So be open. Ask them, hey, how was that sterilized? Number 11, the piercers should practice good hygiene. They shouldn't stink. Of course, they should be bathed, and they should wash their hands on a regular basis throughout the procedure and change gloves often. This is mainly to prevent cross-contamination and to ensure that you don't leave the studio with anything that you didn't come in with. And also, if you came in with something, to make sure that the piercer and their staff and the rest of the staff at that studio does not also get that thing you came in with. Number 12. When piercing, should only, and even after piercing, to be honest with you, should only use jewelry that has been certified as implant grade or biocompatible materials. They should not use substandard materials or materials that maybe they should have some verification that it is in fact certified from their manufacturer. And they shouldn't be using things like silver plated, gold plated, titanium plated, and all that other nonsense. Number 13, this is a big one that has come up here in the last few years. There are a number of studios out there that like to refer to themselves as boutiques or high-end studios and etc. Part of the philosophy behind these is that by raising their prices so high, they're eliminating the riffraff from coming in and bothering them. I don't like this idea. I think that piercers should supply jewelry, basic jewelry, and piercings at a reasonable price that just about everybody can afford. If they do want those higher end pieces of jewelry, they can, if they wish, supply those things. However, this idea that they're going to freeze people out from getting pierced by jacking their prices up just pushes people into getting pierced by people that are inexperienced and sell jewelry that is just not good. I think it's going to harm the industry more than it's going to make things better. And that's my thought on it. Number 14, this is a big one for me. Big one. They should not only supply written instructions on how to take care of the piercing, but they should also go through it verbally. They should take that 3 to 5 minutes to sit down and explain how they wish for you to take care of the piercing so that you will have the best results you possibly can. During this, or towards the end of it, they'll usually ask if you have any questions, and they should be open and willing to answer any questions at that time and supply information on how to contact them for future questions. Number 15, doesn't consider the piercing done until it's completely healed. Basically meaning that their job and their responsibility doesn't end until that piercing is completely healed. Meaning, if you have a question, problem, concern, what have you, they're there to help you as kind of a support system throughout the healing process. And they should always be there and open and willing and make themselves available for questions or problems that you have. Number 16, they should have some form of procedure or policy as far as guaranteeing the piercing. It should offer, if there's a jewelry problem or it's defective, immediate replacement for free, and probably redoing the piercing if there's an issue during it or during the healing process. Me personally, I offer a guarantee for up to 1 year, as long as you follow the Aftercare instructions and haven't done something fairly stupid or inane, and have the receipt. I'll replace the jewelry if it's defective or re-pierce if there has been an issue. Number 17, replace jewelry for free if they made a mistake on sizing. From time to time, when we're estimating the amount of swelling we'll see on a piercing, we'll sometimes go with the kind of less conservative way and pierce with a shorter piece because we want to have less contact with the things around it. However, from time to time, it will swell beyond the length of that because it's the human body and everybody heals differently and everybody reacts differently. If you come in, me personally, if I pierce the piercing with, let's say, a 5/16 and it swelled up beyond 5/16, if you come in and need another labret stud, I'm not going to charge you to put another piece in, and I'm going to give you the other piece back for when the piercing heals or later on down the road. I made the mistake. I'm not going to make you pay for the mistake that I made. Number 18, should be willing to give you a consultation or talk to you about a problem you're having with a piercing, regardless if you had the piercing done there or anywhere else, for free. They shouldn't be charging you for such things. They should be educating you towards piercing. They should want you to have a good outcome. And they should be willing to give you this information because it may end up giving them a future client and building up a relationship with someone new. I don't understand why anybody, if you came into my studio and you had a bump on the back of your upper ear cartilage, why I would charge you to sit down with you for 5 to 10 minutes and kind of go through the process of figuring out what's going on and giving you advice on how to resolve it. That just seems kind of greedy. Number 19, well-changed jewelry for free, regardless of where it comes from and regardless of if they did the piercing. I never charge change jewelry. I'll also rinse them autoclave and sterilize it as long as some proper size, proper material, and it's appropriate for that particular piercing. Yes, if you bring in a crappy piece of jewelry and I don't think it works for that piercing, I'm not going to change it for you. Sorry. I don't understand, especially I've seen situations or heard of situations where you go in, you buy a piece of jewelry from a reputable shop, a boutique, and they charge you $10 to autoclave it, and then they charge you another $10 to put the jewelry in. That's ridiculous. They should be doing that for free, especially if you're buying the jewelry from them. Number 20, a piercer should be an ambassador for the piercing industry and be willing to answer any questions, educate anybody, regardless of whether or not it's going to put coin in their pocket. They should be willing to talk to you about things because they're passionate about body piercing. Their time is valuable from time to time, but if they have a little extra, they should be talking to everybody that comes through their studio. Not only because they're a potential client, but they're a potential case of educating somebody about something they love. Hope you found this educational. Hope you have some things that you need to look at the next time you go in and are visiting a new piercing establishment or trying a new piercer, to talk to them about and ask them why they don't do this or that. Also, if you're a piercer, maybe you got some things that kind of up your game that you should think about in the future and change your policies about. And, of course, I always conduct business like this because, see, number 20, I'm passionate about what I do, and I want to share it with as many people as I possibly can. I want you to get a little bit of my knowledge all over you. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more on body piercing and tattooing with an educational base to it, please hit that notification bell. We post videos roughly 4 to 5 times a week. And if you're notified, you're in the know. I hope all your piercings heal with ease and without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I hope to see you for your piercing needs in the future. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Go out there, do something.